You know, I was on like a reality singing competition show wearing these like high heels with curly hair and like a red top with a red flower on it. Like, it just wasn't me. I allowed myself to believe I didn't know best and allowed everyone to tell me what I should do. And that's when everything changed, because my therapist was like, it's so interesting that you're a singer and you have this voice, but in your real life, you have no voice. And I remember when she told me that, I was like, you're right. And I was like, no more. I had this nightmare turned into a victorious dream. I was reenacting things that happened in my childhood, but then I would flip the script in my dream. So I was getting like hit, and there was someone watching me get hit. The abuser and I were in the spotlight. The observer was on the side, and I was getting hit. I looked up at the observer. I was like, we have to do something. This isn't right. And then the observer said what I had heard my whole life. Don't say anything. You're gonna make things worse if you say anything, so just let it happen and then you'll be okay in a little bit. And I looked at her and I was like, I can't keep quiet. Put on your face, know your place. Shut up and smile, don't spread your legs. I could do that. My sister and I will joke, like, before we go out, we're like, oh, time to put on our face. It's kind of this joke, but there's also this underlying pain behind it. You know, in my childhood, in a traditional immigrant childhood, it was like we had to put on a face, not my face, but a face that was acceptable and convenient to everyone else. I found myself in high school, like, if someone would talk to me and they would say something really uncomfortable, I would not know how to defend myself, so I just smile or laugh it off. And it took me about, just 10 years to figure out how to speak up. But no one knows me, no one ever will. No one knows me, no one ever will. The scariest part is if we don't know ourselves. I followed my father's dream. He wanted me to be a doctor, and so I studied pre-med. Meanwhile, I was like suppressing my music. I've been writing songs since I was 7. I knew I was gonna do music at that time because I had decided I'm gonna follow this, but even during the interviews, I was like, I don't know who I am. I spent all this time being what everyone else wants. I literally don't know who I am. If I don't say something, if I just lie still. Tapping into the story of being a, sexual abuse survivor and just taking it, and just, I think survivors, of any different form of abuse or sexual abuse or whatnot, are just being oppressed. We either deal with it, we either speak out, or we let that like ball of energy just break us down. Would I be a monster, scare them all away, if I let them hear what I have to say? It's really interesting because I feel like when people are oppressed in any different form, even though the oppressor is the monster, the victims who become survivors, hopefully, the survivors take on the burden. Like for me, I thought it was my fault for a really long time. Oh, I deserved it, I asked for it, I dressed a certain way, I acted a certain way, I'm the monster. I can't keep quiet, no. I can't keep quiet, no. Oh, one woman riot. Whoa, I can't keep quiet for anyone. No, not anymore. The song builds from this whisper and it just becomes something bigger in the chorus. I can't keep quiet. That's how I felt as a woman. 'Cause no one knows me, no one ever will. If I don't say something, take that dry blue pill. Dry blue pill can be, you know, people taking whatever types of medications or drugs or stuff to numb themselves. But the other thing, which is my favorite, is I'm a huge nerd for The Matrix. The blue pill is that numbing pill where you just stay in this robotic world and you just ignore all the problems. And the red pill is like you go down the rabbit hole, you learn about the world's issues, you try to fight even though it's a harder fight. They may see a monster, they may run away, but I have to do this. Oh, I can't keep quiet. There'll be someone who understands. Let it out, let it out, let it out now. Must be someone who understands. I changed my life during therapy. I decided, like, I'm gonna make amazing friends, and I set my intentions to, like, spend time to give and help people with their lives. And then I developed this amazing circle of girlfriends. And then I also, like, met the love of my life, and he's such a great support, and he understands. No,